to their people. The governor of the county of Machakos was still elected on the same slate to deliver to the people of Machakos. Once given that docket, and if I'm given this, one of the things is to actually bring to the House a supplementary budget, because there will always be money somewhere, and the budget that was there was never our budget. It was a budget that had been made before. It is good to get to the office, see what is happening, how much money is there, whether it can be reallocated for programs that can be able to harness water, like we have the rain. Soon we are told by the meteorological department we're going to have rains, so we need immediate solutions. And I also want to say, looking through and speaking to counterparts in the NGO sector, they tell us that Machakos, after passing the Machakos Climate Act, benefited from FLOCA funds, the World Bank funds. And that money is still hanging somewhere. And with these FLOCA funds, this is where you're supposed to fund local climate change action. We need to get to the wards. We need to hit the ground running to form the ward committees in terms of climate action. And those ward committees will be formed by the county government of Machakos together with the members of the assembly, so that we can be able to start training our people on how to harness water locally amongst themselves, such that by the time we unleash and unlock the great climate change issue, then we'll be able to move. Thank you.
Thank you. Sufficiently answered.
Thank you.
Madam Catherine, we have previous governments, and in this regard I'm in reference to county governments, where very little has been done in terms of irrigation. And we understand that particularly in Machakos County, we have arid and semi-arid areas, and also areas that we have chunks of land that we can do irrigation. If appointed to this position, what are the possible policies that you endeavor to put in place so that we can actualize a working irrigation programs?
Sorry. Through the chair, thank you very much. Irrigation at the national government is done by the National Irrigation Board.
Sip some water. Some water, please.
Excuse me, I had a cold before. So irrigation at the national government is done by the National Irrigation Board. And we want to say that we lie in that area, that the National Irrigation Board has been able to give some money for digging of dams. These dams and water ponds are in the arid areas, and thank you. The National Irrigation Board is already doing some work. They have been allocated funds to dig water ponds. It's already happening in Yata, Ematu, money that was given by the World Bank. And like I say, irrigation is doable, but it is doable with goodwill. If we had goodwill from the county government, we have goodwill from our members, we have goodwill from the community, then it is doable. However, I want to give a rider. It's not that all places we can have irrigation in Machakos. We'll have to use other means.
Thank you. You mentioned in your CV and from the explanations that you've given, we understand. I find that you have some experience in the NGO world. You have also donor experience. How will this be of help in your docket if you get the position?
Through the chair, thank you. Out there in the donor world, we have funding for every sector. And like I have said, unless we unlock and unleash the issue of having a county that is compliant with climate change, by setting up a board, then it is going to be in vain. So if given this opportunity, I will be able to advise the governor to form a panel where we form the Climate Change Board, and that board is made up of independent technocrats. You advise and you ask for independent technocrats who work within the climate change sector. I have seen people I have met, I know embassies that are very specific about climate change. Right now, as we speak, the Paris Agreement, we have what is called the Conference of Parties that is going to take place in Cairo, Egypt next month. How represented that? What is our stake in that? So coming from that, I will be able to advise and also get out of the office. I am one person who is very hands-on. I do not believe in sitting in the office. I believe in open door policy. And having done a lot of fundraising and resource mobilization, it is my sole responsibility to make sure that I go out there and the people that I know and the doors that I can unlock, and even advise the governor on what she can be able to get where my capacity does not allow me to. That I'll be able to do.
Finally, in Machakos County, we have 8 sub-counties. Previously, in the previous regimes, we've seen developments done lacking some equitable equity. And in matters of water, how will you ensure that there is water, the equity in water solutions are done in all across the sub-counties?
Through the chair, thank you. I want to reiterate and insist that it is possible with the support of the assembly. The assembly members, the MCS, come from the 40 wards of Machakos that comprise the 8 sub-counties. Once given this opportunity, we will work together with the Environment Committee, like I said, and my work is to deliver service. My work is not to come there and not perform. Actually, the members of the county assembly will be more welcome in that office than anybody else. You know those locations. You know those areas. We want to upgrade such that we can even be able to use technology. Through the chair, allow me to state a case that I was listening to the media yesterday, and I was able to hear people in Ikalakala speaking on media about the effects of global warming, about climate change, not knowing that the solution is there. And it is going to be there because they are represented in this house. And their members of the county assembly are free to come to my office with their problems. I do not hold the magic wand to solutions. You have solutions, but probably not the budget to implement. Where the budget is your county governor, kindly come. Let us liaise together. Let us reason. Let us come up with solutions. And it's going to be doable.
Thank you. I wish you well.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Next member, please.
Through the chair, I would like to just get some clarification from Waziri. Are you aware of Machakos County Sand Harvesting Act?
Through the chair, thank you. I am aware that the Machakos County Sand Harvesting Act is there and sand was banned. But walking through the town and what we see, then that leaves room for more review in terms of enforcement and implementation. So there is much more that we need to look into it and be able to see what can be done.
Okay. Second question. Now that we have Rivadi that is crisscrossing through this our beautiful county, because we have talked about the treatment of the water, and I'm not in that line, how is that water going to benefit the people of Machakos? In that regard, do you know about the implementation of hydram systems so that our people may get water?
Through the chair, thank you. I think it will take much because it's a modern technology. I have seen it work probably in India and in areas where they have constant water. It's a way that water is turned from the rivers and pumped into the riparian lands for growing. It is doable. The only question is, do we have water flowing in the rivers anymore? So if we had water flowing, if River Athi was clean, because we would also not want to advocate for the same from River Athi, it will bring more dangers to our people also. But once we've tackled that problem, and I have said, invoking international organizations like UN Habitat, then it is very doable and it's going to increase our food levels.
Okay, well answered, but I have this suggestion.
Yes, sir.
Now that you saying that until the water is treated, is the time now the water can be given to people for use. I'm coming from Biune, and I've just seen some people, few individuals, who have capacity to instill the hydram to River Athi, and they are doing extremely good. So please, when you be the CEC of water, kindly see how you can help these wards which this River Athi is cutting across, so that they may do farming. Thank you.
Thank you to the chair. I will make a visit and kindly see to it that I become the CEC, and then we can be able to liaise more. And I'll make a field visit.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Madam Catherine.
Yes.
As earlier you communicated to this committee, thus you do encourage indigenous farming method and conservation. Kindly, can you outline some of the benefit you can foresee to this effect?
Through the chair, thank you. Remember, some of us are coming from a traditional society where I said hunger was never an issue. If there was hunger, it was in other areas. Traditional crops like sorghum are missing from the market. Traditional crops like cassava are no longer there. Traditional crops like are no longer there. And once we encourage, together with the governor, who is very passionate about having the people of Machakos have food on their tables, then if we unlock this, we are sure that people are going to have food. It's only that even today in our homes, when you give children those kind of foods, they're like, they do not know this, they only come from a culture of bread, milk and meat. So this should be encouraged, and through trainings that we are going to do with communities, and also equipping them with the right seeds. Because we could be telling people to plant traditional crops, yet they cannot afford the traditional seeds. So this is very possible if we put in these seedlings in the budget.
Madam Catherine, if appointed to this department, you will be the lead person to implement the governor's manifesto. I came from Tala, and I think the sewage and the drainage are within your department. What plan do you have? Because in Tala, we have already the master plan of the sewer system, which is costing around 2.1 billion, and several towns within the Machakos County. Do you have a plan to have sewer system be implemented?
Through the chair, thank you. There are already projects that are running in Machakos County on the sewerage system. We have the one in Ikiwe. We have incomplete treatment programs, like the one you're saying in Tala. We have another one in Momando. So when these ones are done, then we are sure that we are going to reach somewhere. However, this involves in conjunction with other departments, like probably the free toilets belong to the Department of Trade. And we have to unlock that potential that we work together so that the people can be able to receive the service. That will be able to take care of the air pollution too.
Madam Catherine, if appointed, how are you going to treat the governor's statement in public? As of recent, the governor was at Tala, and he gave his direct instruction to start construction of a dam called Kwandeto. How do you treat those statements?
Through the chair, thank you. Remember, the governor of Machakos is elected, and the people that elected her, together with the people that elected the MCAs, place in those demands. And this is where I said from the word go. Could we encourage our people? Could we do public education? Could we encourage them to have their priorities into the CIDP? My work is to advise on policy, not just through the assembly or even on regulations, but also to be able to advise the governor on what is possible, what is doable, And two, also being the governor, then we must be able to get into books and see if it was within the CIDPs in terms of prioritization and even the budget. We do not want to actually lie that we can be able to do what is not possible.
Thank you, madam.
Yes.
Thank you. Next member.
Thank you. Issue of water resource encroachment by members of public is a serious issue. And citing one example, in Mavoko, there is a private investor who has grabbed a whole river and constructed 3 dams along that river. And down at the end of the channel, where there is a public dam that is supposed to serve the public, for the last 7 years, that dam has never filled any water, because the inlet that is supposed to serve that particular public dam is completely blocked. If appointed to the position that you have been nominated for, what policies or what plans are you going to put in place to ensure all riparian lands, water resources that are available within Machakos County are secure? Because water is a critical resource for our people. And if the vision of the governor to ensure that every household has food on the table, water will play a very key role. So what are you going to do to ensure that those resources are secured?
Through the chair, thank you. I would wish that I am given an opportunity and then would do civic education to those people on their rights and their responsibilities. I would wish bodies that protect those rivers, like Warma, would do their work. And one of the things I'm going to do is I'll sit down with those departments. We'll be able to look at regulations that govern riparian areas. We'll look at regulations that govern encroachment into the rivers, upstream, where we have the dams, because people have grabbed. You go to other areas, you realize that somebody has a piece of land that goes across the river and even goes ahead and fences the river. That is unheard of. To me, that is impunity. But the community also needs to be encouraged. Having known their rights, then they need to do formal complaints. And I am happy that community can do a formal complaint through the member of the county assembly and then be able to see what can be done. So we'll work in conjunction with the Ministry of Lands and the enforcement agencies, the NEMA and WARMA.
Thank you. The other question, issues of climate change have to be combated collaboratively. You have talked of establishing a climate change board at the county level. But the problem is at the lowest unit. Are you intending to establish ward climate change committees that will help you to ensure that whatever vision that you have for the entire Machakos, the same is clearly and effectively replicated at the ground level?
Thank you, through the chair. Chair, allow me to give a brief about the County Climate Change Board. Once we have unlocked the potential of having the board, the conditions and the terms of reference actually call that we establish what are called the ward adaptation prioritized committees. So this is a board that is going to have committees up to the ward levels. And once it is done, then it is the people are going to be trained in mitigation and adaptation of climate change. And I said this is where they are encouraged on growing traditional foods. Then within the wards, they encourage formation of committees of about 70 people. It is a law actually. And the 70 people requires that 30 of them are youth and 40 of them are women. However, the people endowed differently are always there. And these committees are trained on key thematic areas. And by that, they create employment. They're also trained on the use of technology as ICT, use of social media, use of Facebook, bulky SMSs from the department. And by that, will be able, it's a trickle-down issue. It's not a top issue alone, like having a board that just lives in a nice old tower. It is a board that is made of professionals who are able to come to the ground and train the people. And I am telling you, we are going to be a food secure county, and our people are going to be knowledgeable.
And the other thing, the reason probably today everybody is talking of pollution in our rivers because of the discharge from the factories. One of the biggest angle and entrance to ensuring that our environment is safe, our rivers are safe, is corruption, where the people who are mandated to ensure that the policies are effected as supposed to be, most of the time, most of them get compromised. As a nominee for that sensitive docket, how are you going to counter this?
Through the chair, thank you. You know, corruption trickles in the society, and it is a personal responsibility. From where I sit and where I come, the word corruption does not occur, and if it does, then you must refund those funds. I come from a situation of dealing with donor funding, where each cent is accounted to the coin. And currently the donors came up with a plan such that money is even paid electronically, that we never used to even have money for projects. We did that work electronically. And from where I sit, because this is very rampant, and not being a desktop person, I want to be able to make impromptu visits. I want to work in conjunction with the national government. I want to work with NEMA. I want us to make those visits to those factories. The people must be involved in their own development right from the design stage. I remember there's one factory that was opened in Machakos. Somebody just came, bought a piece of land, and built a factory. A year or two down the line, there was a lot of emission of carbon gases, and people were getting sick. People were getting TB. I think the same is happening in Mavoko. And by this, is because people are not involved in the design of projects. They end up just seeing areas and buildings coming up. Where we are going in devolution today, we must be able to involve people in their own development. Matters concerning water, matters concerning irrigation, matters concerning sanitation, environment, natural resources, climate change, I can assure you that is my policy. And I also want to say that I want to work with other departments so that we encourage the coming up of a climate change action plan and policy across all the departments. It's not just stuck in one department. And if we do, like in areas where we were able to come up with the gender policy, gender was not just for the Ministry of Gender, it is a policy that cuts across. HIV and AIDS workplace policy was not just one department, it's a policy that cuts across. So we can make climate action a policy that cuts across all the departments, and it's going to be workable.
Thank you, Catherine. I wish you for the best.
Thank you.
Through the chair. Through the chair.
Yes.
If you allow me. Thank you.
Proceed.
Madam Catherine.
Yes, sir.
Our own Professor Wangari Maathai said, Mother Nature is very generous, but very unforgiving. You realize that you are dealing with the docket, that with the resources of the county. Yet there is a big issue with investment to create for economic growth, for employment, for everything. If elected, there has to be a trade-off. What would you pick? Investment or environmental security?
Thank you, through the chair. It's a catch 50-50. But looking at climate change and action, then I would trade and I would go for environment.
Very much. I actually was trapping you. If you had said investment, I would have lost a lot of marks from me. The other thing, mm-hmm. If elected, please, it's very ironical. It's raining and people are going to the river to collect water.
True.
I would hope that we would integrate rainwater harvesting in its simplest form in our households.
Sure.
Make it mandatory for approval process to be complete. you have to show that you have provided for gutters and even the smallest tank, 1,000 liters. If you have 1,000 liters, for sure, if it's raining, you cannot be found on the river. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
I agree as well. All right.
Madam Chair, kindly
Yes,
you allow me. Yeah, thank you, Madam Catherine. I have a question on this Kitui Water and Sewerage Company. That's our company that runs water project that draws water from Masinga Dam. I believe you know about Kitwasco, and we get some water from that project, that is Masinga region, and yet we still have our Yata Masinga Water and Storage Company that probably is supposed to be running water projects in Machakos County. And I think 3 weeks ago, our Empo governor pronounced herself concerning that issue, because what these people from Kitwasco do, anytime when there is water issue, they only close our pipes and make sure that our people do not get water. Including right now, as I speak, we are not getting, Masinga residents are not getting water from that project, simply because the company comes from Kitui County. What are you planning to do to make sure that the water project is managed by our own company from Machakos County, and probably making sure that the residents get water from that project, understanding that Masinga Dam lies in Machakos County?
Through the chair, thank you. Honorable Member from, I want to say political situations and causes call for political solutions too. And I would want to say and appreciate that the fact that our governor pronounced herself even before media, and she's already hands-on into the project. She's already hands-on. If taken as the CEC water, I will assist her to try and give it a political solution, because celebrating devolution right now, probably 10, 15 years later, and we still cannot have water, and our own water where we have a county government, and this is a county government natural resource. Masinga Dam is meant for Machakos people, and it is in Machakos County. It surely beats logic, same logic that probably appears in land, where land in Machakos is governed from the national government. So it sincerely beats logic, but there are methodologies, and we have seen the governor doing this, and we'll be able to follow it up. It's a painful situation, so it needs really to be addressed. Like I said, like the Noturesh issue, it's a political situation where the governors can also address the same from the Council of Governors and try to break the stalemate.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm well answered.
Thank you. Catherine, I have a question for you. And the question is on chapter 6.
Yes, Chair.
Are you conversant with it?
Yes, Chair.
What is it all about?
It is about leadership and integrity.
All right. Are there any matters that touch on your integrity, yours, that you may want to share with this committee?
Thank you, Chair. For 15 years, I've worked for civil society for 17 years. 15 years, I have had to get clearance on the same chapter every year for my contracts to be renewed, because I worked on annual contracts. And I can say, like what Raila Amolo Odinga says, mimi ni mweupe kama pamba. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mimi ni mweupe kama pamba. That is the parting shot from you. All right. Members, we've come to the end of this vetting session on Catherine.
Thank you.
I would release her, but before I do that, I'll ask you to comment or say something to us.
Thank you, Chair. I want to say there could be a lot of challenges in the department, but I have come and having a background as a teacher, a mentor, a coach, a policy analyst, and also a PhD student in policy and management. I want to say I want to bring in what is called transformational leadership. I want to bring in inclusivity if given this opportunity. And I will be sure that I'll be able to come back here and say, surely things changed and people will appreciate. Let me also take this opportunity to appreciate God for the chance, to thank you for getting time out of your busy schedules to be able to take me through this interview. God bless you.
Thank you, and don't forget to pick your documents, academic papers that are original. Yeah, wish you well. Wish you God's blessing.